Hi everyone, welcome to week 4 of the course. For week 4 we're going to be looking at the cost of production. And for this week, I want you to click on the announcement and I want you to look at what we have to accomplish by Saturday night. You're going to be looking at chapter 6 and chapter 7, and we're going to be doing discussion board number 3. Now, for this week, cost of production is pretty important to any firm. They have to do a lot of decisions to estimate the role of their fixed costs, their variable costs, to make a good decision on what they should do in the market. I got a lot of interesting different ancillary materials for you to review, but I think you'll really enjoy the connection of these costs. A lot of people get confused with firms because they're always noticing that firms probably make higher profits when the actual increase in total revenue occurs, which is not the case. You can make higher profits when you have a reduction in cost. You'll see a lot of firms reduce your cost structure and increase profitability. So that's one very interesting aspect to look at. How can we increase our profit, which is a goal of all firms, by reducing the cost structure that we have? So for this week, we got chapter 6 and chapter 7, and you're going to be looking at the discussion board question. Now, the requirements for the discussion board state that you need to have at least 3 posts. Your first post should be by Thursday night. It should be, the initial post should be 3 to 4 separate paragraphs with your formatting. This should include an APA formatted in-text citation and reference, and it should clearly address each of the questions that are being asked. So now, the question that you're looking at in the discussion board is, you're an employee seeking to fill a vacant position on an assembly line. Are you more concerned with the average product of labor or the marginal product of labor? Now, average product of labor is looking at how many workers you have, how much was produced. So for example, I have 3 workers at my firm. We produce a total of 30 products. 30 divided by 3, each worker makes on an average 10 units. Now, marginal product of labor, that's a little different. Marginal product of labor, let's assume that the first worker makes 10 units. The second worker makes 15 units. The third worker makes 5 units. So now, they all 3 make 30 units, but when you look at marginal product of labor, you're looking at each additional unit that the person makes. First worker 10, second worker 15, third worker 5. Now, if you observe that your average product is beginning to decline, should you hire any more workers? So make sure to look at the graph between the average and marginal and how that's changing in the relationship between those two. That'll be key. If you can estimate the role of those changes, you'll be fine, because there's a very distinct relationship between those two curves. Now, what does this imply about the marginal product of labor for your first or for your last worker hired? Should you identify marginal analysis, or should you identify average analysis? Most decisions in economics are based on the margin, not the average. Average could be skewed a little bit. Let me give you a hypothetical example. Going to be a little bit wacky with the numbers, but it'll make sense. Let's say I have 2 workers. They make an average of 50 units or 50 hamburgers. Okay? So you're assuming, okay, each worker makes 50. 2 workers, they make a total of 100. Each worker makes 50. Well, if I look at the marginal, let's assume that the first worker makes 99 units. The second worker makes 1. So if you look at that, you're noticing, well, hold on, there's a lot of skewness to this behavior, because really that second worker didn't make very much. So that's what we're looking at this week. So in the discussion board, first post by Thursday, 2 additional posts, which could be to any of the questions that I post there, at least 1 paragraph, and 2 posts of 1 paragraph in length by Saturday night. Make sure that you have separated paragraphs, APA formatted in-text citation and reference, and address each of the questions. If you want me to pre-grade any of your work, just send me an email. But I look forward to your effort this week.